guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, we're going over two different emails sent from subscribers. The first one is from a young guy. He's a first-year college student, only 18, 19 years old, give or take. And recently he dumped his girlfriend after she tried to baby trap him. But thank the Lord for some smart thinking from his dad and our guy here, and he got rid of her and obviously found out that she was full of it and was cheating on him. However, our guy here, and he's new to the channel, he's really struggling. He's really going through a tough time right now and is looking for some advice and counsel to help get back on track. And the second email, the main theme of the story, is about a guy, an ex-husband, and he shares about years ago when his ex-wife, who is a complete mental lunatic and evil, tried to use marriage counseling against him. And you'll see what I'm talking about there. But our guy was smart enough to turn the tables on her. So there's a lot of lessons in that one too, which I'll get into as I go into it. So the first story, this young guy says, "Hello SSM. I'm a pretty new subscriber to your channel. I just broke up with my girlfriend, who I was dating since high school. One day she came to me and told me she was pregnant. I literally just started college, so I kind of freaked out. I'm Catholic, so the procedure was not an option." Man, first year in college, you probably just finished your first year, and she tells you that, and it's like, holy crap. Well, I took full responsibility and even asked my parents for support. My dad said that I need to get a paternity test first. Thank God you have a dad with a brain. I was completely against it because I didn't think my girlfriend was cheating, and I felt like asking for one would be insulting to her. Well, better to insult her and let her get over it if she didn't cheat, versus not saying anything and you end up raising some kid that isn't yours, and you get the point. And being on the birth certificate and on the hook and all that. I was a stupid blue-pilled SIMP, and then a cousin sent me a couple of your videos about women pulling this exact same crap. Even his sister's fiance wrote to you when she got pregnant. My cousin was not a cheater, but the other videos were a train wreck. Yeah, he told me the video. If you guys want to see the video that he sent in, or his family member sent in, I'll attach it in the top of the comment section as well as in the description. I also noticed that my girlfriend was showing a lot of signs that those cheaters had. She was moody, distant, and started guarding her phone like a hawk all of a sudden. That scared the crap out of me, and I didn't want to raise some other dude's kid. Now, if she's pregnant, let's just say she didn't cheat on you, it was your kid, she was pregnant with your kid, then her being moody, certainly understandable, okay, and being distant, maybe freaking out about how her life's going to go, that's understandable too, to a degree. But then the whole guarding the phone like a hawk, and you put all that together, and I'm sure there are other things, then these are signs to pay close attention to. I was getting suspicious that she was cheating on me, and that led me to talk to my girlfriend about the paternity test. I'm sure that was a pleasant conversation. I didn't want to piss her off. Smack! Don't be a mangina. So I told her my dad would not support the pregnancy unless we got one. Okay, that's clever. I won't be getting into details, but she ended up admitting that she did cheat on me, and the child is not mine. And yet another example. Dude, you owe your dad a big hug. And, you're not old enough to buy him a six-pack of beer, but maybe get him a good coffee to thank him for telling you and insisting upon the paternity test. Finding that out completely broke me. She was my first girlfriend and the only girl I ever been with. I loved her with all my heart. I never thought she would do something like that. I'm sorry, man. And a lot of us have been there with that first love, first girlfriend, usually high school, the girl you usually sleep with the first time, and all those things. And then in some capacity, something like this happens or whatever. Most of us have been there. It's hard, but I promise you'll get over it, but I'll come back to that in a second. We broke up, and I just hate her now. Right now, all I want to do is focus on school. I'm not talking to any girl seriously again. You just can't trust these bees these days. All of them belong to the street. Well, man, I can't blame you for saying that, and it's totally understandable. But they're not all bad, but believe me, a heck of a lot are. But nobody blames you. The problem is I've completely lost all my motivation after the breakup. I just don't feel like getting out of bed anymore. What should I do? Is this normal? Do you have any videos on how to get over something like that? Thank you so much for stopping me from making a horrible mistake. So, bro, I'm just going to jump right into it. I don't need to point you in any videos. I can just tell you right now, what you're describing, losing all motivation to do anything, and you don't want to get out of bed anymore. Sounds like typical depression. And this might be the first time you ever experienced this, so you didn't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not any medical degree, but I've lived long enough and experienced the same thing to know. It sounds like depression. And there's obviously degrees of the intensity of depression. And the fact you don't want to get out of bed is very common. And it's totally understandable. I've been through it many times myself. Depression goes in my family, and you become incapacitated in doing things you even enjoy. If you like going to the gym, you don't want to go to the gym. If you like playing video games, you don't even want to play video games. But the thing is, it's normal and natural. But the thing is, bro, you're now a young man, you're a young adult, you're starting your path in life. You got to get out of bed. As hard as it is, you got to pull those covers and roll your ass out of bed if you have to, and get out and get dressed and brush your teeth and have breakfast and get out the door for whatever your thing is. If you're in school, your primary objective is you got to go to class. You got to participate. You got to study, because that's your grind, your purpose into wherever you want to be in this world. If you're going to a trade school, something similar. If you're not going to school and you're working, you got to get out of bed. You got to go to work, because you can't lose your job, and you got bills to pay. And these experiences when you're young, although very hard, prepare you when you're an adult and you got some serious responsibilities. I mean, imagine if your dad was going through some very stressful things and he couldn't get out of bed. Well, he couldn't take care of your mom and you. If you have any siblings, he wouldn't be able to pay the bills and the mortgage and all that if you wouldn't get out of bed. And in life, as most of us know, SHIT happens, and it usually happens when it rains, it pours. And as part of being a man, you got to do what you don't want to do sometimes. You got to take care of business. You got people that depend on you, So all I'm going to say is this, man, it's understandable, and this was your first love, and you say you hate her. Well, nobody can blame you. But the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. And one day you'll be indifferent to her regardless of, but not now. That's why be very careful that she doesn't come back crying to you because you're in the hate stage. That's the other side of the coin of love, and you don't do anything stupid. But anyhow, one day at a time. In fact, 1 hour, your mission every day when you wake up in the morning is just to get out of bed. That's your first checklist thing to achieve. Get out of bed and start your day. And then your goal is to just get through the hour, and then eventually get through the day, and then get through the week. But you'll get there. Because again, your first love, probably your first lay, all that, you probably thought you had a big, bright future with her. A lot of guys do that. I've been there. Many guys have, but you will get over it. And over time, by taking it one day at a time and showing up to your job in the summertime or school, hanging out with your bros, doing the things you enjoy, it will get better. But I do recommend you get rid of all things that remind you of her. Social media, pictures, all that type of stuff, and don't hang out with her, okay? It's likely she's going to be reaching out to you to get a second chance, or I'm so sorry. Don't do that. In fact, give your dad a big hug and thank him for getting on your butt about the paternity test, and let him be like your sponsor, where, the sponsor helps the alcoholic or whatever you have a sponsor for when they're about to make a bad decision. If you start thinking about taking her back or she reaches out, your dad's going to be your sponsor and say what he has to say, do what he's got to do. And in time, you'll be better. But, man, you did a hard thing. There are a lot of guys out there that even if they knew the child wasn't theirs, they'd have such a dependency on the girl and the relationship, they wouldn't break up with her anyway. I'm serious. But you did. You did the hard, in spite of your love for who you thought she was, you still got rid of her. So I commend you. You're new to the community. You're welcome here, brother. I'm glad you're here. And I urge you just to keep watching videos. Watch at least one video every single day. In fact, right now, it'll probably make you feel better in this state by watching as many videos as possible in your free time. Because every time you watch a video, you're going to learn something. You're going to hear somebody that went through a situation, and that way you'll have this knowledge that if you find yourself in a situation, you won't make that guy's mistake. And so you'll know that every day, and the more videos you watch, and it doesn't have to be my channel. It could be other good channels too with similar content. You'll become stronger. You'll become tougher. You'll have much more of an edge. And that's what you need. This is training. This is literally like school for real life, But what we describe, you're totally natural. But you're going to get through it. But anyhow, good for you. Good for your dad. And the hell with her. So, man, take it one day at a time. And if there's any updates, like she tries to get back with you or anything interesting, send me an update. Or just let me know down the road how you're doing. I'd appreciate that. Okay. Oh, yeah. And guys, by the way, help a young brother out. Any tips and suggestions in getting over her? Let him know. Okay. On to the main story. That went longer than I thought. This guy says, Dear SSM, I've been watching your videos since the very beginning of your channel. I'd like to share a short story with my ex-wife. We will call her Jessica. That took place some years ago. Jessica is the perfect name for the story. It could be Amber as well, but Jessica is just as good. At the time, I was a data engineer handling the most challenging customer data transactions in my company's software. Occasionally, my work required me to spend several days on site in a remote city, managing clients through a difficult data load process. That left my wife Jessica alone as a stay-at-home mom with our 2 young boys. She deeply resented being tied to the house while raising them. Many times I would return home exhausted from the relentless pressure of solving the myriad problems my job demanded. She doesn't have to have a job. I know raising small children, that's a job, but what I mean is she doesn't have to actually get in the car and go someplace and probably deal with asshole coworkers, asshole bosses, and asshole customers and traffic and all that. She doesn't have to do that. She gets to stay in the comforts of her own home, on her own schedule, taking care of the boys in the house. She does not have a place to resent you, dude. Come on here. But this is going to show you, no matter what, you can't make them happy. Against that backdrop, it wasn't long before she grew bitter and began lashing out at me as an absentee father. An absentee father, it's your income that provides for your family, and she doesn't have to work. But you see, she's just a miserable a-hole. When I wasn't traveling, I devoted my evenings to my boys, playing and reading to them for hours until bedtime. Over time, however, Jessica grew even more resentful of them, claiming I no longer spent time dating her. So she's complaining that you're an absentee father. So when you're there, you're making up for it with your boys. And now she's complaining because you're not spending enough time with her. There ain't no making this bitch happy. Guys, this in degrees is normal. One night, she angrily told me she needed more attention or she'd find it elsewhere. Oh yeah? Well, pack your bags, honey. Go find it elsewhere. We're done. I was at a loss to save my marriage, reminded daily how I was failing as a husband. Smack! You don't need to save the marriage. If anybody needs to save the marriage, it's her. But obviously, the reason you were thinking that is because of your boys. I mean, clearly you didn't love her because she was nuts. Well, too late. You already had kids with her. At least we're going to believe that they're your kids, and I hope they are. Well, finally, she suggested marriage counseling, hoping to steer me back into the role of the submissive husband she believed that I should be. I was wary of counselors. That's very smart of you. I had friends who warned me it was a trap, where the sessions turned into 2 against 1 gang-ups. The time was running out, and my already fragile marriage was sliding towards dissolution. Dude, that would have been a good thing. And that's how it turns out anyway. All I could think about was failure, the weight of it, the impact it would have on my boys. Yet Jessica seemed determined to break us apart, leaving me to bite my tongue and suffer in silence. Well, in her mind, she wins no matter what. If you stay together, then you have to play ball according to her, and she punishes you. Or you break up, and she tries to punish you that way. I want to know, why in the hell did you marry this broad? You know, was it a total bait and switch? Like she was behaving one way, and you got married, and had kids, and all of a sudden this is her true colors, or was she always an asshole? But you know, maybe you grew up in a family where your mom was like this, or you low self-esteem, so you figure this is as good as it's going to get. I want to know. Well, Jessica knew a big secret about me. As a child, I'd been abused, and I had vowed never to raise a hand in anger against her or our kids. Aha, now we're getting somewhere. This is why you don't reveal a lot of your deepest secrets, especially stuff like that, because these evil ones will use it against you right here. Never cry in front of your girl, never pour out your fears and all that stuff, because some will use it against you. Occasionally, she would test that vow, screaming at me nose to nose, daring me to strike her. Of course, I never would. Brother, why the fuck did you stay married to her? Your boys are seeing this. Your boys are seeing their dad being mistreated, treated like a freaking like a bitch, and they're gonna think that's normal, and they can themselves be treated that way by girls one day. If not for yourself, end it to protect them. My God. And not to mention, how's this lunatic going to behave around then? Oh, yeah. Smack. I know you were doing that because you want to break up the family, but it's far worse letting them grow up with this shit. When I finally agreed to see a marriage counselor, Jessica insisted we meet individually rather than together as a couple. She was highly manipulative and an accomplished liar. So I immediately suspected she would fabricate a story portraying me as the bad guy, just short of having me handed over to the police. With that in mind, I decided that if I was going to be led to the gallows, I might as well have some control over how the trap played out. Well, you could also have other control by divorcing her, but what's done is done. Yes, play her game, but use it and turn the tables against her. Well, Jessica went to the counseling first, setting the stage with a counselor. We will call her Trina, a young, impressionable feminist type, handpicked by Jessica for her reputation as a staunch female advocate. Oh, goody. You know, from what I've read and been told countless times, it seems that a lot of these marriage counselors, one, are women, and two, are what he described. When it was my turn to meet alone with Trina, I noticed her discomfort from the start. Gee, I wonder why. She seemed uneasy being alone with me, and I even passed a few male coworkers stationed nearby, almost like sentinels. In case I tried to get violent. I already had a strong idea what Jessica had alleged. If I was going to be painted as a monster, perhaps even a serial you-know-what, then I would have to rewrite the scenario myself. If she's nervous around you, it doesn't sound like she's some proud, strong feminist to me. During my session, as Trina squirmed in her chair and stuttered through her questions, I began telling her that Jessica was a psycho. I explained how she would slap my face, kick me in the shin, and threaten to take a kitchen knife and, while I slept. Needless to say, Trina was bewildered. Yeah, that's going against all her programming, her whole paradigm. What? A woman can do that? No! Men are the bad guys. I went on to describe how I feared coming home, convinced I might walk into a horrible scene with my boys, and Jessica having taken her own life. It was a nightmare that haunted me constantly. Each night I shook as I turned the door handle, sometimes pressing my ear against the door, relieved when I heard the trace of sound inside before entering. So I'm going to take it that's what you told Trina, but that isn't exactly what happened. That's my interpretation here, just to turn the table, since Jessica made up a whole bunch of crazy crap about you. Okay, you're going to do it about her. After my session, Jessica returned for her second meeting with Trina and endured the same treatment from the staff that I had faced earlier. When Jessica came home, she was completely confused and demanded to know what I told Trina. I feigned confusion and replied that I'd only told the truth. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, actually, if that's actually what you thought and felt, or you're highly exaggerating to turn the tables. But if you were telling the truth, again, God Almighty, divorce the broad and get these kids out of there if you can. But it's like the saying, okay, you don't tell lies about me, I won't tell the truth about you. That saying. Jessica then revealed that Trina no longer wanted to see her and had suggested she consult a psychiatrist. Oh, I can see the mushroom cloud coming out of her different ears there, because that would mean something's wrong with her. I masked a smirk, gave her a puzzled look, and then said something that unraveled her scheme once and for all. I told Jessica that I didn't want to share what Trina had told me, but if she insisted, I would. Jessica shouted, demanding to know. In my most understated tone, I said I did not want to follow Trina's suggestion. When she pressed further, I told her that Trina had advised me to rough you up a little bit, to spank you without leaving bruises, and to put you on the ground and to pin your arms beneath my legs, and then slap and other things. Whoa. That's what he's saying that the shrink said. I added that I hadn't wanted to tell you because I thought it was cruel and I would never, ever do anything like that to you. Jessica was left completely shocked into silence. Her plan to mold me into a compliant husband with Trina's help had collapsed. Yet years later, she recounted my devious counter-scheme to her divorce attorney. Regards, Mark. Well, that is an abrupt ending to this story here. I know a lot of you guys are like, what? That's it? That's pretty much my response too. But obviously, newsflash, they got divorced. Big surprise. Of course they got divorced. But the theme of the whole thing is the marriage counselors. How they will a lot of times pick and choose the marriage counselors amongst, usually the marriage counselors are females, and in varying degrees feminist, and the guys are always painted as a bad guy. Don't fall for it. In my opinion, guys, honestly, if two adults can't work things out between them, then there's no point in going to the marriage council. That's just ridiculous. And frankly, because the deck is stacked against the guys, of course, don't even bother. But I like how you turned the tables on her. But gee whiz, shocker, you ended in divorce anyway. I'm glad you're done with her. So, brother, I like to hear what happened afterwards. I like to hear what happened with the divorce, how things went with that nut job. And obviously, you're now a free man, and obviously, things are better. I'd like to hear that. So, guys, if you'd like to hear what happened after all that and the conclusion, how this guy escaped, let me know in the comments section, and he will, I would imagine, write in later on, and we'll do an update here. But anyway, guys, avoid the marriage counselors and the sneaky tricks they do. My God. And, oh, yeah, by the way, if your wife is that miserable and awful to you on all fronts, and it worsens, for heaven's sake, if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your children. Your children cannot grow up in a house of what he described. That is terrible. One, it will shape them to be in situations like that in time, and also the emotional thing. They don't want to be home when it's going on. That stuff messes with kids. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this, both stories. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.